Hey, howdy, hey, Bat family, Wolfman47 here. So I've decided that in addition to my genre bender series of vlogs, I would also look at some unreleased stuff. So these are films, video games, TV shows, whatever that were ultimately announced, kind of get made or not get made, and then ultimately scrapped, cancelled, shelved, or whatever for various reasons. And today I'm going to start off with the film Batgirl. Now, this was a film that was going to be part of the DC Extended Universe and was going to be released on the small screen via HBO Max, which we don't have in the UK yet. So here in the UK, it probably would have gone on either Prime Video, Netflix, or whatever. And ultimately, it did get cancelled for the main reason being that Warner Brothers wanted to make cuts and sort of have a focus on sort of DC having big theatrical productions over these little small things, which is kind of a shame because it was actually looking like it was going to be a pretty good film. So I've got the Wikipedia page here on my tablet, and it was going to be featuring Michael Keaton as Batman, and this would have been before he appeared in that god-awful Flash film that we don't really talk about. Directed by Adil El Arbi and Balil Fire, whatever. I hope I'm pronouncing those names right. I'm sorry if they don't sound right, but they directed the third and fourth Bad Boys films, and also did a few other stuff as well. Not really sure what the film would have been about, because the Wikipedia page doesn't really go into detail about it, but my guess would be that it would have focused on Barbara Gordon being Batgirl, doing what she does best, and eventually finding Batman and various other things. So yeah, it's a film that was ultimately cancelled, and it wasn't the first film that Warner Brothers cancelled in favour of cutting costs and doing restructuring and everything. They also cancelled the Coyote vs. Acme film, a sequel to Scoob or some Scooby-Doo film. So yeah. And in addition to Michael Keaton, Brendan Fraser was going to star in it as Firefly. And J.K. Simmons would have returned as James Gordon, having only made one appearance in the DC Extended Universe as him so far, and that was in Justice League. And we would have also had the villain Killer Moth was also expected to appear as well. So yeah, so it would have featured a few very unknown villains of Batman, and after the film was ultimately cancelled, there were a few executives that work on superhero films that did reach out to the cast and crew, ultimately sort of expressing their support, sympathies, and so forth. And ultimately, there was some good that came out of it, in that Warner Brothers did release the film exclusively for the cast and crew to watch. Well, it wasn't really like the sort of complete project, as it were, but it was the project that was at the point of post-production, so they were able to see the film for themselves, and then it was ultimately scrapped and shelved. As well as that, I don't know if it would have even worked as a DC Extended Universe film, with the franchise being as it was, so many changes in directions, not really much consistency in how it was going to go, because after the Zack Snyder left, everything kind of went a completely different direction, and what we got is what we got. We got a good Superman film. We got okay versus film, a pretty rubbish Suicide Squad film, which ultimately will not ever see the original cut of, I don't think. A great Wonder Woman film, a okay Justice League film, which ultimately did get an extended cut, which was Zack Snyder's original vision later on, which was much better, but probably still not great. A good Aquaman film, a good Shazam film, an okay Wonder Woman sequel, a good Blue Beetle film, a good Shazam sequel, a much better Suicide Squad sequel, and I could go on, but I'll be here forever. But if you were to compare the DC Extended Universe to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the thing that Marvel has going for them is that they have consistency and they're great at universe building. And unlike Batman v Superman, which was like the second film of the DC Extended Universe, they worked really hard to get to the point where they would have Iron Man and Captain America go against each other. It was building up to that moment, whereas Batman v Superman was they just opened with that after Man of Steel. So yeah, DC is hopefully will be in a good place now that James Gunn is involved with helping set up their next cinematic universe, which will hopefully be as consistent as the Marvel Cinematic Universe and other things as well. And I know that the DC animated projects that are released straight to home media are still going as well. I do kind of feel like they do get overlooked a lot because there's so many great animated DC projects that are released all the time that only like the fandom knows about it and everybody else kind of forgets about and overlooks it. I get it though, because stuff that's released on home media is often of a lower quality, but the last few DC animated films that I've seen that came from home media have been alright. They've been good. Yeah, sometimes the animation can be a bit off, and sometimes the voices and so forth can be a bit off. But if you want like a comic book accurate take on a story, the animated stuff's the way to go, because we've had the Killing Joke, Hush, and even this year we're having a 3-part adaptation of the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline, which was a very complicated storyline, as I recall from reading the comic. It was based. But going back to Batgirl, it's a film that probably was going to work for some, but not work for everybody. I did hear that there was some trouble in production, and apparently test screenings felt it was negative. So yeah, I think it's probably for the best that the film ultimately didn't get released. If it did get released, I would have held an open mind anyway, just to see what it was like. But from what I am reading from various news articles and this Wikipedia page I have open, yeah, it was probably not going to do well, regardless. But it would have been nice to see Batgirl on a big screen, and the Batgirl that's actually properly Batgirl, not the Batgirl we see in that Batman film we don't really talk about. So yeah, that is my take on Batgirl, a film that could have been released, but ultimately wasn't released, and I think it's probably for the best that it wasn't released based on what I've been hearing about the film. And that's all I'm going to say on Batgirl. So yeah, now I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I'm looking forward to talking about other different things that were ultimately not released. Talk about the different reasons why, how it could have worked, whether it should have been released or not, and all that other stuff. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing in these vlogs. If you have your own ideas of what sort of things I should be talking about that were ultimately never released, do let me know in the comments or some other way. So yeah. Alright, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please like, share, comment and subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace to you all. And if you do find yourself in Gotham and you see a Caped Crusader trying to save crime, he could do with some help. He'll probably do his shtick of going, I work alone and all that, but ultimately every superhero, no matter how big they are, they do ultimately need help, and they should always never say no to help, even if it means sabotaging their missions or whatever. So yeah. Alright, doodles.
It's lights out! Now you want to get nuts! Come on! Let's get nuts.